Hey everyone, listen to your suggestions, and as a result there will be some video clips in this vlog pertaining to the show that I will be discussing today. So as a result, before I say anything, people, I'm not stealing under copyright. If it's for a review, it's fine, so don't take down my video, but just in case, I will be making another copy of this without clips, so if this gets taken down, I'll be able to put up a new one immediately. This is one of the quote-unquote girlier things I will be reviewing in this series of videos. And it is an anime very dear to my heart that I own, that I love, and can't believe I love, called Petite Princess Yucie. Let me actually get into the backstory of how I got into the show. I first heard of this show when I had Anime Network, and at first I was turned off by the title. However, one day when I was bored and I didn't have anything else to do, I decided to watch the last 4 episodes that were available on, on the listing block. And in the pre-finale episode, I bawled my eyes out. Seriously. And this was during a time where I was very hard to make emotionally cry. I only really cry during, even now, I still only cry for 2 movies most of the time. The Iron Giant and A Little Princess. Most other things, not so much. But this made me bawl. And this was without any prior context to the events of the series. But just seeing the ending and seeing the emotional response and how the voice actors worked together was enough to make me very tearful. So ages later, because I did that when I was probably still in high school, so about a couple months ago, I bought the series again, finally sat down to watch it from the beginning, and I fell in love with it all over again, and I still bawled during the end. So what is this show about? Well, the story centers around a young girl named Yucie, who, despite being 17 years old, she has stopped growing and has retained the body of a 10-year-old girl. And it's announced that Queen Ursel wants an audience with certain young ladies of the kingdom to discover who is the Platinum Princess, and for the Platinum Princess for the human world. And so, because she keeps seeing this light, which is the light of the Eternal Tiara, Yucie becomes picked to become the princess candidate for the human world and a candidate to become the Platinum Princess. So she goes to the Princess Academy. And when she goes to this academy, she has to go through a series of tasks in order to strengthen her heart and become worthy of the Eternal Tiara. And along the way, she is joined by the Princess of the Ghost World, the Princess of Hell, the Princess of Heaven, and the Princess of the Fairy World, who are all Platinum Princess candidates. And the entire show is about them growing into the role of being these better people in order to become worthy of getting this special power. Because what the Eternal Tiara does is it grants you your one wish. And all these girls have the same condition where they all have stopped growing at a certain age. So they all want to become adults for different reasons. But the thing is that there can only be one Platinum Princess candidate and only one wish can be granted. And so it's about who's gonna get this and how will it affect their friendship. There are a lot of characters and side characters of Yucie, but I try to keep it down to the main characters and the people that are closest to them. So the main character is Yucie, and she is the adoptive daughter of the former hero called Gunbard. And her wish is to become an adult so that she can become taken seriously, because she feels that the limitations of her child body make her a burden. She wants to be an adult so she can properly, go after her romantic feelings, because when she looks like a child, it's hard for her to approach someone who's actually her age, because that's very creepy, obviously. She's really an optimistic character. She's the one who really keeps the group together, trying to be the emotional support, and it's through her that the other girls are able to grow. She's really the heart of the group. And I think that the mark of a good protagonist, in a traditional sense, is them being able to bring out the best in other people. And Yucie does that. She brings out the best in others. and she supports her friends and the friendship between her and the other girls. And what I love about magical girl genre shows in general is that when there are female combats, it's not this really vengeful, petty bullshit. Like, she knows she's rivals with all these other girls, but she doesn't try to, like, hate them for it. She encourages all of them to do the best that they can. And it's like, they're competitive, but it doesn't have to be personal, which is so good to see, especially, like, when you look at, like, in our own real world about, like, beauty competitions between other girls. It's always personal because, you know, you're being based on beauty. And in this, it's about them, you know, becoming better people because of each other. The people that are mostly associated with her are Gunbard, who's her stepfather, and he used to be a warrior, but now he's retired and he takes care of Yucie. Cube, who's kind of like this demon assistant guy who, like, gets them, like, neat, cool devices, and Arc, who is the love interest for Yucie. And I think that, like, I usually don't really like romances, especially in this genre, because sometimes they can be really over the top, but Arc and Yucie really work well together, and I really like their relationship. Glenda, who is my favorite character, is the princess of the demon world with elegant style and fantastic magical powers, and that's her catchphrase because she says it all the time, and I love her for it. She begins the story as Yucie's rival, and they slowly kind of form a very strong friendship with each other. She's very abrasive around other characters, and she's very harsh, but we see that she takes her responsibility as princess very seriously because her father, who is Satan, is pretty much a joke. Like, he's one of the more comical interpretations of Satan. She's a very antagonistic relationship with most of the girls, but at the same time, she always sticks up for them and she constantly goes into danger for them. So it's like, while she is abrasive, it's obvious that she cares, but she doesn't like to show affection overly so. She also wants to become an adult, but her reason is that she feels if she becomes an adult, her mother will come back because her mother left her father because her father wasn't acting mature, and she feels if she's an adult, her mom will come back home, her father will finally kind of mature and be a man, so trying to, like, baby his baby girl because she's stuck in this kind of, like, little cute form. And she also thinks that if she becomes an adult, she'll be able to properly protect the people that she cares about, because she's always, you know, there's a whole battle scene where, like, she's being overpowered, not because she's not strong enough, because she's stuck in a kid's body and she can't do things that an adult can do. So yeah, and she's shockingly well endowed for a 10-year-old, but puberty can be weird. But she's my favorite character. The people that she is with is, like, the people that she's with is her father, who's the devil, and he's very smothering and doting, and Glenda hates him, and usually you think, oh, it's because she's a bitch, but it's no, because she hates him because he's the reason her mother left, and she's bitter about that. And then her kind of familiar steward character is this cat demon called Gaga. The next main girl character is Kokulu, who's kind of the least important of the female leads. Like Yucie, she supports the friendship very strongly, but unlike the other girls, she doesn't really have a character arc. I mean, she becomes a more confident person, but all the other characters grow up in much more profound ways, where she is just kind of, like, there to kind of, like, also keep the group together when Yucie can't because she's arguing with Glenda. And the most important thing she does is kind of have this very sapphic relationship with Beth. Like, I don't think I'm reading too much to say, like, they're definitely a couple. Like, I definitely see that with them. But she helps bring Beth into the fold, and she's not very dynamic in terms of a character, but you kind of need her to kind of be calmer and be that supporting, caring character, because so many other people have so many different striking personalities. Mina is the princess of heaven, which is also called the celestial world, and she's very stock, and she's very driven, and Mina comes from heaven, and heaven is kind of seen as this kind of very monochromatic, strict, high expectation world where there's zero room for failure. So she punishes herself and pushes herself to be perfect at anything, to make her father, who is God's your dad, you know, very proud. And what she's haunted by really is the fear that she will disappoint her father because she can't accomplish something. And so because she is afraid to fail, she doesn't try to do different things. So she's very much of a perfectionist. And throughout this series, and I think she's one of the most, like, beautiful story arcs. Like, her and Glinda really have really great story arcs, because you see her go from this very cold person to being, you know, having more of a dry humor, becoming, you know, less perfectionist, going out there more, especially with her interaction with Glinda, because, you know, she's Princess of Heaven, Princess of Hell, so they clash. But they really work well together, and I feel like her storyline was the one I felt kind of the most for, is because she wants to become an adult because her father sees her being a child as an imperfection, and since imperfections aren't allowed, she feels like he loves her less because she's this way, and that if she can cure this, she'll finally have her father's love. And episode 19 is kind of like the subject episode about that issue, and it made me tear up a little bit, I'll admit it. It was just a really well done father-daughter episode. I felt it was really, really well done, and really showed how she feels about her father and how the relationship really works out. And then the last of the main female characters is Beth, and she's the princess of the fairy world, and she's the last one to join the group. And she is initially an antagonist because she tries to kidnap Kokoloo, she talks down to the other candidate, she causes problems. She's not very sympathetic at first, but then when we figure out why she wants to be an adult, she wants to become an adult. She doesn't actually want to become an adult. Her wish is actually to save her world, which is slowly being destroyed. And, you know, it's just, her story is just really, it's shorter than the rest of the girls' arcs, but it's also very poignant who she is. And then the people that she's with is she has her dad, who's the fairy king. He's currently a tree. And then this fairy named Belle Belle, who for some reason every time I see her, I care about. No, actually, I skipped it. Mina has a robot steward, and it's a giant robot, because apparently, no, in heaven, everyone uses robots because they're more efficient and they're less likely to have flaws, which I thought was really, really weird, but made sense considering how they kind of portray him. And I think his name is like Balazon or something like that, and he is adorable, and I love him. And his scenes with Elmina also make me tear up, like him and stupid Belle Belle. I don't know why, those characters just really have a really strong connection with me. They're just really well done. The character writing in this show is very good, and I think that's why I love it so much. But anyway, there are a couple of themes in this show that I think were very important, kind of like why I support this show and why I love it so much. And something that I really find, one of the main themes in the show is growing up. And the catalyst for the protagonists and their journey and all the other girls is to become their true adult ages in order to fulfill their own personal obligations to themselves, to society, to the world they live in. And I think many of us remember what it's like to be children, that kind of irritation when you're being talked down to, being excluded from things because you're too young, everyone constantly trying to hug you or play with you, and anything bigger than you is kind of like, what the hell is this? Why would anyone make something this size? And yet we know that we're going to grow up and we're going to get through it, and then finally we're going to be tall. And with Yucie and the other characters, this has never happened for them. They're still stuck in that stage where even though they're not, you know, children, they look that way, and therefore everyone treats them that way. And because everyone treats them like children, their attitudes remain at that level, which I think I thought was really interesting about how they were written, because you kind of think, why aren't they more mature? Well, what's their prompt to be more mature? I mean, they look 10. You know, there's nothing they can do. They can't have boyfriends because they look too young. They can't really interact with different people because they look too young. There's no reason for them mentally to really go out there and be smarter. So they remain in this kind of stasis because of their age. And I just thought it was such a really good way of talking about childhood in kind of a permanent way. And also the other thing is, maybe they can't grow up mentally. I mean, it is a curse. It's not like something that they can control. And the other big theme in the show is responsibility. And many of the episodes in the show are to teach lessons to these princesses in order to make them better candidates for the tiara, so that they are really forced to deal with something bigger than themselves. And they're faced to kind of see their limitations, their commitment to what they want to do, and they each have to deal with something that motivates them, except for Kokoloo. Kokoloo kind of gets shafted as a character because her development, even the reason why she wants to become a platinum princess, is really never really explored. So she doesn't really get that way. But Yucie wants to be able to be helpful and not depend on others, because she feels like, you know, for her to be a full, complete person and do things she wants to do, she can't do it as a child. She can't do things. And there's a kind of sense, like, with her whole relationship with, like, the prince character of Arc, that she wants to, it's kind of downplayed, but she wants to have a sexual relationship, but she can't because she's in a 10-year-old body. With Glinda, she feels a responsibility to her citizens and her family because her father's incompetent, so all the burden on it falls on her, but there's not that much she can do because she's a kid. Mina wants to fulfill her duty to her father and to become suitable princess of heaven, but she can't because of the curse. And then Beth, her entire world is crumbling around her, but because she looks like a child, no one will stand by her because she's a kid. And like, she tries to like raise an army to help her fight the force that's killing her planet, but no one trusts her because she's a kid. And it's hard for them, and they keep trying to like show through this series that there's more to being that princess character than just a pretty dress. It's like the whole Disney way that they show princesses is kind of like almost played with here. It's to be responsible. It's to take care of where you're from, to have a sense of responsibility and duty to your people, and being someone that people can rely on, which I really, really love about this series. The other thing that's really brought up here are the relationships. There are a lot of relationships that are explored here, but there are really two different kinds that are really here. Father-daughter relationships and then romantic relationships. With father-daughter relationships, the really main one that you have is like Yucie and Gunbar, which have a really good relationship because it's a really positive portrayal of a father-daughter relationship where they're not related. Because there's a conversation where she and Arc talk about if she wonders about her biological father, and she says that she only has one dad. So she doesn't really wonder about her biological parents because she has always had one father, and that's how she sees the world. Like, she doesn't care about that. I thought that was just so sweet and poignant, especially the crap that Once Upon a Time has about, you know, their characters. It was just really good to see that being portrayed well. And the thing that is like, she's frustrated by her father because he constantly infantilizes her, but she also knows that he will always protect her. And for Gunbar, he sees someone who saved his soul and helped him become a better person. So they have a solid relationship. Glenda and the Demon King have a very turbulent relationship. She hates him. She blames him for the mother thing. She avoids trying to encourage his affection. Like, she cuts him off, hoping that if she does that, he will grow up. And so she starves herself of her father's affection and her mother's affection at the same time. Mina is very destructive to Mina's relationship with her father is very destructive to who she is, because she can never be the kind of person that she feels he wants her to be. So her whole mind is really messed up. And 19, like I said, really develops this. If you don't want to watch any other episode of this show, just watch episode 19. It's just so well done. And so the relationship isn't exactly healthy, but you know, it's what it is. The other two girls, their relationship with their fathers isn't really explored that much. Beth loves her dad. Kokolo supposedly loves her dad, but we never really see them together. And then the other thing is that there are only two romantic relationships in the show. One major, one minor. The minor one gets a lot of character development towards Glenda because she falls in love with this young guy who needs a cure. And when it's found out that the cure he needs is for someone who they think is his lover, she's just kind of like, it doesn't matter, I care about him, so I want to help him. And that has a funny way of how it ends, so I like that episode. But then the major relationship is between Arc and Yucie, and it's played off very well. And it reminded me of like Mamoru and Usagi from Sailor Moon, where like they kind of tease, kind of flirt, they play off each other really well. I really like that relationship, and like the forehead jokes, how they connected as people. It was just really, really well done. But I think the biggest and best theme, and why I love this show most of all, is friendship. That's the biggest theme. I think of like almost every, you know, kind of like magical girl show. Friendship is a huge theme, but so much in here. It does so many things right when it comes to building theme relationships in the show. Like from the beginning, you have Yucie and Kokolo, who both become friends, and then you have the relationship between all the girls coming together and how it empowers them. It makes them better people, you know? It breaks them out of their shell, especially with Beth, who's like in the beginning she's a totally different person than who she is at the end. And I really feel like, I don't want to spoil it because I really, really love the last 2 episodes, which were the last 3 actually, which were the last 4 episodes, I think, 4 or 3, were the first ones I ever saw. And just watching those showed me what this series was about. So I think, like, if you want to get an idea of what I'm talking about, 19 and the last 3 episodes definitely give you most of that. But in this show, it shows how important friendship is. It is a precious thing that should be treasured, and I really do love how this show uses it as not just like a little like, oh, la, la. It's at the heart and root of this entire series. The problems I had with this show were minor. There's only 2 things I would say are the big thing. One is the missing mom syndrome thing. Like, none of these girls have visible mothers. The only one who does is the prince. He's the only one who has a mom out of any of the girls that we see. And it's one of those major fairy tale tropes that I really can't stand. I'm just kind of like, you don't really need to do this. It's obnoxious. And then the other thing is, like, even in the filler episodes, they're all about father-daughter relationships all the time. But there are no mother-daughter relationships. There is no mother-daughter anything. Women, exception of, like, the girls, and there are a lot of women in this show, but there are no mother-daughter relationships. There are friendships, but it's all about, like, their stuff with their fathers. And in terms of problems about how the story was written, there's only one thing I could think of, because I honestly adore this series, and if it had, like, some more meat to it, honestly, to a lot of degrees, I feel like it does a lot right with what it does, but at the same time, it's very simple, so I don't give it that much higher on the list. But I do think that even with great character development, the show could be shorter. Not by too much, I don't think, but there are some episodes that are really filler, and I don't think you would lose anything by making this, like, 15 episodes or 20 episodes, because it's 26 episodes long, and I don't think it needs to be that long. I think 15, 20 max would have been perfect. It didn't need those extra 6 episodes, because that was just filler. And it's only, 20-something minutes each. You don't really need that. So those are my really main issues with that. The missing mom thing, and sometimes the filler was a little, not bad, but I just don't think it was necessary. And I don't think it, like, adds anything to the show. So, final thoughts. I'm so mad that I dismissed this show initially because of the title, and I'm sure other people will. I'm sure even by me titling this review, people are like, it just sounds corny, and I understand that. I do. There is a lot of cheese to it, but I feel like, this show deals with a lot of great things in my mind. There is this mentality that shoujo and more girly anime has something to offer in terms of story, and that's not true. And it's like, in the Western media, it's so hard to find really well-written female friendships that aren't just, divine sister of the yaya bullshit. And it's just like, this really gets to, like, the heart of what friendship is. And as someone who's always really loved my friends, and my friends are my rock. They are the most important thing in the world to me, are my friends. I would rather have a great friendship than a great romance, because friends are just important to me, homies over hoes all the time. And Yucie deals with that really well. The friendship, the rivalry, the bond between young women, bring them together, such as ripping them apart over, like, boys or, like, stupid shit. It just so really well done. And those last few episodes just grip at my heart, because it's so honest and sweet and adorable in the best ways. It's not adorable like, oh, I love rainbows. It's adorable because it's honest and it's heartfelt, and you feel the connection between these girls that you have seen through all these episodes. It really makes everything worthwhile, and it gives me such an enjoyment. And if you like shoujo, you will love this. Like, if you already are predisposed to it, you will love it. If you are skeptical and you just want to know what I'm talking about, the main episodes I like, episode 19. Brilliant episode, love how they deal with that relationship. And then the last 3 episodes. You get a little bit of fighting action in the last 2 episodes, friendship galore. It's beautiful. I adore it. It made me cry twice. I'll probably end up watching Yucie again soon, because I just love that series. So yeah, this is my number 8. I know it's probably not going to get that many people check it out after this, but I really love this series, and I hope that get out. At least to look at the weaker cousin of a much better anime.